welcome to this episode of Stylist Studio. I'm Sally Lyndley, and on this episode I want to chat with you about one of the most influential art directors in the world, Mr. Fabien Baron. So having an in-depth knowledge about art directors is really important, and also learning how to work powerfully with art directors and who are the most powerful art directors is very important with a stylist career. And Fabien Baron is probably one of the most famous and established and accomplished art directors that exist in the world today. So Fabien got started in 1982. He's a French guy. He moved to New York to become the art director, creative director for Barney's New York. And that was in 82. 6 years later, he started working with Franca Susani at Italian Vogue. And he redesigned Italian Vogue and did the coolest art direction that I think Italian Vogue has ever had, still has ever had in its history. And, and at that time, Italian Vogue was doing some of its best work and was also bringing on Mr. Steven Meisel. So it was a very interesting, awesome time for Italian Vogue. Now, that was all in 1988, and I'm sorry, just looking at my notes. In 1992 is when Fabien's career really hit its stellar high. He took on Liz Tilberis, at the time was the editor-in-chief of Harper's Bazaar, and it looks nothing like the Harper's Bazaar today. Back then, Harper's Bazaar was a true competitor with Vogue. So if you aren't aware of or don't have a full history of Harper's Bazaar under Liz Tilberis and Fabien Baron, you have to go and take a look. They did amazing stuff. They had all the best photographers. Terry Richardson, Patrick Demarchelier was on contract with them at that time. The art direction, the shoots were incredible, and Fabien Baron was a big part of that. Now, in 1992, he also started his iconic relationship that was a 20-year plus and still going relationship with Calvin Klein, and is really responsible for a lot of those iconic images from Calvin that we're all obsessed with now from the 90s. Kate Moss, Marky Mark, all those amazing sexy campaigns that were somehow raw and amazing and just kind of defined that whole 90s look were all Fabien Baron's direction. So the other thing that Fabien did in 1992 that was very exciting and interesting was he art directed and designed the book for Madonna's Sex Book that was shot by Steven Meisel. He also shot the documentary that went along with the Sex Book, and he also shot the erotica video, which was banned from MTV. Fabien obviously is a visionary, and that was kind of the start of his time, I would say. In 2003, Corinne Rotfeld hired him to design for French Vogue, and that she was the editor-in-chief of the time, and she worked with him for 5 years there. And then in 2008, Peter Brandt, who took over Interview magazine, hired Fabien to become the creative director, editor-in-chief there. So, and he is still there. He took a detour for a year, and then he came back to the magazine, but he does an incredible job with Interview. Fabien, on a commercial level, has done Balenciaga, he redid Burberry, he's done DVF, he did NARS, packaging and logos, and he's like the best art director, graphic designer, creative director in the fashion business today. If you don't know his work, I'll put a link to his website below. But definitely take a look at all of his magazine and editorial art direction. It's some of the most inspiring in the world. And knowing his past and his work is very important. And if you're a stylist working in New York, I would definitely reach out to Baron and Baron and make sure that they have, send them your book, send them your online book, so the young junior art directors under him are aware of who you are. They do a lot of the big commercial campaigns in the world. And yes, Fabien, like the rest of the people in fashion, work mostly with their community that they've grown up with, like their stylists and photographers and whatever that are their buddies. But at the same time, they're always looking for new talent and new talent to support. So Fabien Baron, part of your art director education that we'll be doing here at Stylist Studio, so you know all the key players in the business. Definitely study him, follow Interview, get a subscription to Interview magazine. It's very, very inexpensive and very important to stay aware. So have an awesome day, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Stylist Studio. Check you later.